Let's start 2020 off right, guys, by recapping last year's leftovers. In particular, Vinland Saga, the anime adaptation that ranked number 3 in my year-end top 5 best anime list and has now a second season in development. A seinen historical series that actually delivered on its action and animation, all while Berserk and Kingdom fans quietly lay on the floor, pretend not to cry, and then cry. But it wasn't until the ending of the show that I really started to appreciate not just the strong writing, not just the wonderful character arcs, not even Askeladd, but what the show as a whole was truly all about. And that's purpose. I was, and still am, a big fan of nonsensical battles and over-the-top violent Japanese anime like Dragon Ball, Yu Yu Hakusho, and more that are entertaining and fun to watch. And seinen shows like Berserk are extra brutal in their delivery and have some truly unforgettable sequences that, yeah, can be drawn with no qualms for the faint of heart and is there for shock and awe. We love violence just as much as we love sex. Yet despite all of this, Vinland Saga has chosen to tell its main story as one of expectation and reality. What we want is more or less pointless, and the finger that it points to is the romanticized Viking image. And as someone who loves his action shows, this quite literally threw me into questions about the overall significance of this theme. So that's why in this video, I want to fully look into the show's major themes and why this one is an example of how to disassemble the all too familiar revenge story that a lot of other anime seem to repeat. So lay down your arms, boys and girls. It's time for one more look into Vinland Saga, the path of a true warrior. The prologue of Vinland Saga is filled to the brim with many themes and messages that not just relate to the time period it's based on, but it is a product that follows people of many backgrounds. Vikings and mercenaries that thrive for battle and a chance to enter Valhalla, benefactors and wealthy men with huge amounts of money that throw whatever side wins them more earnings, common folk caught in the crossfire and that wish to be left alone, and slaves that have made mistakes and who just want freedom. It's interesting to note that despite every character's different philosophies and perspectives, everyone is essentially driven by their dreams and goals, to be honored for power and fame, or to just live a peaceful life. It's the fundamental desires that all humans strive for, and it's not a terrible thing to walk towards. We are eager to follow our dreams and attain our deepest desires, but Vinland Saga makes a counter to it. What you desire is fine, but don't expect the world to go along with your plan. You want riches? Sure. But don't expect that others won't steal from under your fat fingers. To be left alone? Go ahead and live as far away from your problems that will never go away. And then there is honor, the Viking culture that is the whole show's main appeal. They drink, they sing, and they pillage, not just for satisfaction or profit, but for honor, which is rewarded with the gates of Valhalla as said by their superiors and kings. But you got a good idea of where this goes, don't you? Never thinking too deeply and blindly going into it with no plan of action only creates more misery and pain towards a goal that is never stated to be true or false. We expect things in life to just go with the flow, but it's people like everyone's favorite daddy killer Askeladd who properly knocks that dream flat on his metaphorical ass. No hero will ever come and save the day. You have to make that happen. Never run away or cower against the unpredictable waves of reality, ride them to their conclusion. A lot of characters have come to this pinnacle avenue, and the ones who don't seem to just keep hitting the same roadblocks are the more successful ones. Sure, Thorkell, for example, is a British strong and crazy beefcake, but he is also reflective of the nature he prefers. He loves challenges, but only if it makes logical sense. Well, his logic, I mean. His relationship to Thorfinn is one that started off with him truly being enamored by the spawn of his brother-in-law, Thors, who long ago left the Viking lifestyle to figure out his place in life. A duelist of great fortitude, but who abandoned it to be a better warrior. As such, Thorkell wishes to see that question be answered, and for the son to reap what his father has sown, the true warrior spirit. But that expectation is met with harsh reality upon Thorkell's defeat. He soon sees the kid as nothing but a disappointment, a wild dog chasing meat on a stick. And by the end of the prologue, Thorkell goes from being giddy about Thorfinn to being downright disheartened by him. He has curiosity, but lacking in his father's unique logic, leading Thorkell to sigh at such a letdown. There are many more who have the maturity to see through the lies of the make-believe. Thors, Canute, Askeladd, these are people who have discovered what truly matters in life. and to never jump in headfirst into a situation with no plan to escape it. As for the Norse religion aspect of being graced into the arms of a Valkyrie, that is up for debate as well when it comes to the other key player in their world, and that is Christianity. Religion plays a subtle but nuanced part in juxtaposing both the Norse and Christian belief systems in their many offerings and flaws. They are both systems that fight each other for superiority and have their own realms that human beings desire to go to in their passing. Willibald, the priest with an affinity for the Lord and drinking barrels upon barrels of mead, is a pretty small character, all things considered. But much like religion, it's still there underneath all the chaos. In a scene alongside Prince Canute, he explains to him a very morbid idea that isn't even explicitly praised and taught around, and that is the role death plays. Those who die will give back to the universe their love, and the reason for their existence is a lack of love for it. Love, for example, could mean their remains becoming fertilizer for the crows, the maggots, and the earth. Their death gives life to the things around them. So this could be said for many of Vinland's characters who sacrifice themselves or kill in action out of a deep respect for their friends, countrymen, or loved ones. How Thor's philosophy gets him killed but safely assures his men and son are not in chains. Or how Ragnar is stabbed in the back by Askeladd, but knowing his murderer will protect and groom the Shah Canute into a mighty king. But the biggest and most significant example is Askeladd, a man so enraged by the Danish, whose grudge against the Viking lifestyle is unquestionably strong, dies to protect the country of Wales that meant so much to him and his late mother. Their deaths are proof of their love to their beliefs, and no matter how much we may want to expect happiness or clarity in our deaths, it must always be with purpose, and not the false hope of the supernatural that religions have banked on many people's heads over the millennia it has been taught. It's a very complex theme, and unless you read the manga, you might not get where this leads to, but that's not what I want to point out. It again relates back to what is the core point of the video, that conquest and bluster doesn't make anyone a better person. Protecting the ones that matter most is what makes, in this show's term, a true warrior. And before you say, isn't that like the power of friendship? It's really not. Friendship and love, when done poorly in action media, reflects a kind of meek misrepresentation. While it all depends on the writing and the author's intent, being a shield of the weak or the protector of all things good is considered to be boring and lacking flavor. Kind of like Superman or Goku. You aren't born into it naturally. It's gained through hardship and understanding from the environment around you. So it is the case with Thorfinn, who I've saved for here, that despite every other character, small and large, growing past their violent tendencies, he is lost in his own delusions of grandeur. As a kid, Thorfinn was already a wide-eyed and imaginative boy with aspirations of greatness just like his father. And with the right genetics, he is on the right path to being just like his old man, but the side that Thor's doesn't want him to be. And being very stubborn, he goes against his father's wishes even after his death and pursues the man responsible for it, Askeladd. Over the years, his hate grew staggeringly from childhood to his teenage years, and has been more or less a tool used by Askeladd on the off chance that he would be offered a duel. But each and every time, he always loses, and has to repeat the same process again and again, like a bull to a red flag. Because of that, he has harbored the same mentality as a Viking would, so blinded by his pride and honor that he cannot let reason check in. Even despite all the parental guidance that Askeladd softly gives him, he still doesn't get it. And unlike Vikings like Thorkell or Bjorn, he could never express love or attachment for many things. His family is too far away, he has no friends, his aspirations are vague, and his purpose is blank. Revenge is his only desire, and is from many people's perspective, a very sad existence. I think his sudden and shattering realization of this has to be with his last battle with Askeladd, getting off a high of beating the terrifying Thorkell in single combat. He is swiftly disarmed and given the harshest beating imaginable by Askeladd, who has noticeably become very tired of Thorfinn's antics. Not because of his lack of usefulness in his plans, but for just his constant stubbornness. He then illustrates to Thorfinn how he went through the exact same revenge tale as he did, and found that at the end of that story, he found nothing left to gain. No satisfaction, just a waste of time. To Askeladd, it's pathetic to think that way. And I don't know why, but this really does stick to me, and to so many other revenge stories with similar edgy teen archetypes. One in mind that I come back to is Eren Yeager's grudge against the Titans in Attack on Titan. Now, I know it's a bit of a low blow considering that there has been much more of Eren's character in later seasons, but let's just be fair here, guys. Season 1 Eren was much like Thorfinn's character. Stubborn, arrogant, impossible to reason with, and inevitably became boring due to his vendetta. I can't recall anyone just sitting down and just giving this kind of character a reality check, that they should drop the act and just get on with their life. It's a complete cut against the angsty teen stereotype that, let's face it, is in a lot of our anime shows. Tokyo Ghoul, Naruto, and yes, even Attack on Titan. And unlike Attack on Titan, which did rectify this problem, so many shows of a similar nature never do. Vinland Saga is a violent show with some intense imagery and scenarios, but it's smart enough to know how to handle its tragedies with humanity and scorn. To lambaste the ones that think they're hot shit when really, their identity and motivations are just, well, you get the idea. And we see the fruits of that finally sprout once Askeladd is out of the picture and throws Thorfinn into another dead end, just like every other Viking. For when there are no more people to kill, what's their purpose anymore? To which I'd say, maybe for Thorfinn's concern, he should lay down the dagger he clutched for so long and get what truly matters with his own hands. Much like Thor's did in the beginning of the story, to part with your sword is be at peace. In the grand scheme of things, you have no enemies. This path of a true warrior comes from many things, especially what I've discussed already. Helping those who are in need, conquering nature, settling and living in peace away from war, protecting the people in your life, and to never let them go. That is what Thors did, and that is why so many people view him in this light. Willibald and Askeladd both understood that this way of life is the right path to take, and like the changing of the times, it's a philosophy that will bring about peace and prosperity. Which is why I love this direction. Cause if a fictionalized story set with real life figures can understand that concept, why can't the rest of the world? I'm always dumbfounded by the amount of so-called pride and recognition our society lectures. How we can justify warfare like with Vietnam or Iraq, despite all the atrocities. Vinland is highly relatable to the deeper human condition and how we should be fighting our battles. Not with clenched fists, but with open hands. And yes, you can still appreciate the show for its great fight scenes or gory set pieces, yet the true goal of Vinland is to highlight how wrong the Viking culture is, despite how we love to glorify it. It's one of only a couple of known series that really understands the benefits of charity, pacifism, and the change of time, set in a world that doesn't want to, but will be forced to eventually. It sure as hell made me think more about how I view the exploitation of violence in media, and while it's not really going to change anything, it is nice to see some authors take apart their works once in a while and really lay down some harsh facts, like Hunter x Hunter or Berserk. We'll have to wait and see how Thorfinn makes out in season 2, but let me tell you, as someone who has read the manga, this is leading to what I consider the best turnaround for any character, and truly the next big step into becoming a true warrior. Thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe if you want to see more of my videos. If you like my content, share my videos with all your friends, and tell them to go watch Vinland Saga. I know it's on Amazon Prime, but it's a small price to pay to see some awesomeness like this. It's your bra man on a boat to Vinland.